time to put up the interior walls. So we measured the perimeter of the building. Now it's a 10 by 20 foot shed shell. So we've got 60 feet of perimeter, and we're actually using 4 by 8 foot pieces of plywood as the interior cladding. We're avoiding sheetrock because even though sheetrock is cheap, it would crumble potentially and crack. When we move this portable cabin from place to place, plywood will actually increase the structural integrity of this entire micro cabin. So we're going with a really well finished plywood. It's birch. We're using 1/4 inch plywood for the ceiling, 1/2 inch plywood for the walls. We've already picked up all the plywood at Home Depot. So we've got the plywood unloaded. Now we're gonna start taking the final measurements, making the cuts, and then getting the siding, the interior walls up so this little cabin comes together. Looks like we're at 77 inches, which is gonna be perfect. So because the studs are 16 inch on center, the plywood should line up right over it to where there's 1/2 a stud for us to screw the plywood onto the stud with. First panel is in. So we're just keeping it in with 4 screws that are countersunk in. Kind of filling this out as we go. We want it to look really clean. We want this to be modular. If we ever need to move a panel, we can easily pop it off and fix something back there, add electrical or plumbing. So we're gonna put the same panel up on the other side. The middle zone is where the wood stove is going with the metal backing. So we're gonna do that one last with scrap plywood because it's covered up by metal. So we'll tackle the mirror panel on the other side, then work on some panels up front just as we get our bearings with this style. Panel 1, meet Woody. Panel 2, meet Woody 2. We've got the test panels up just to see how they work. We want to work out the kinks on the simple cuts before we do more complex cuts. Let's panel up the rest of this cabin. So we got this first set of panels done on the front wall, above and below the window, and then this larger panel. We're pretty happy with how this turned out. The gap in the top panels there is beautiful. Down here, we didn't quite get the gap we're looking for because we didn't have enough room on the stud. So we're gonna copy this on the other side, get that done because we know how to do it now. Then we're gonna work on the more complex pieces in the corners. We're going to tackle everything above the doorway and then tackle the sides of the front wall. And then we're gonna go hunt down Joe and pull him kicking and screaming off of his laptop where he's editing videos so he can help us hold up these ceiling panels. All right, we got the front left and right sides done around the door. We're happy with it. We like the way it looks. This plywood is so light and airy. I don't even know that we're gonna stain it. We're definitely not gonna paint it. It's got that high-end Scandinavian vibe. We're bringing IKEA to a 200 square foot mini cabin. We're now gonna make the measurements for the area above the doorway and get that connected and covered up. We got the 2 panels above the doorway installed. Now we're gonna do the last 2 panels in the corners of the front wall, and then the front wall is good to go. Because we don't have a stud in the corner that we can mount the panel on, we're gonna have to cut some 3-inch chunks of 2x4 to put up at the top and the bottom to give ourselves a mounting point. So we'll cut those 3-inch 2x4 chunks, get those positioned in and attached, then we'll measure for the panel and do the same on the other side. And then the front wall will be done. We're officially done with the front wall. All the panels are in, they look pretty good, we're pretty happy with it. A little bit of trim here and there will clean things up, but we like our plywood wall. The plywood looks really high end, and you don't need sheetrock anchors to anchor anything. This improves the structural integrity of the micro cabin. The micro cabin can be relocated, no problem, because there's no sheetrock to crumble if it's moved. So we're pretty happy with the results so far. We're gonna keep trucking. Get the back wall done, work on the roof or the ceiling, and then the sides. We just finished the back wall corners. Now we can move on to the ceiling. This is 1/2 inch plywood behind me on the walls. This is 1/4 inch on the ceiling. And for 2 guys installing it, I think we did pretty good on the first panel. It's getting later in the day, but Ben and I are determined to finish this. So this first panel went up pretty good. We're gonna go get some more on now. So we're done with the ceiling. All of the 1/4 inch plywood panels are installed. Now we're gonna finish up the left and right sides of the micro cabin. That's it. We're done with the ceiling panels. We're done with the wall sides. We are done cutting plywood. I breathed enough sawdust over the last day. I'm ready to move on to another project. I think Ben and Joe are too. So with the interior plywood on the ceiling and walls done, we're super stoked to get going on the power system and the water system. And that's what we're diving into next. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.